So I'm just making a parody video now. I'm just waiting for it to finish rendering and saving. It's a parody, kind of like usual, well, except my talks, but it's a parody to illustrate visually and help to understand the components around the whole origin of the Greenbelt and some more enlightening significances and revelations that can bring to our understanding of the term and the current situation, bringing all things into the picture, into the equation, all the things that we've been studying and talking about in relation to the food, diet, evidence from scientists, the harm that it's doing on us, the commercial side of the television and the food advertising, psychology, influencer marketing, who are the people behind this, who are the people who own and direct and control the companies, then the history part, what's happened to us history, being spoiled and vandalised, with the political history and current political situation in which they're still trying to do to us now. And they're all, but literally the what is the sum of all the evidence for those who have the capacity to, to behold the evidence, to envision, to assemble, to understand the bigger and wider picture clearly, what that means now, and what the current impact it is on us, and what we are fighting for, and who we are fighting against. So in the parody, the discrepancies on the maps, the main evidence are these old maps from John Speed, Alex Hogg, all these old maps which show unusual discrepancies with our ancient site, and its positioning is not on it. They've moved it around, or they've not told the truth about it. There is something unusual going on there. Now, we know prior to that, we've got the Roman invasion with a mention, but then we've got the Civil War, which is not very well. After the Civil War is over and after the Royal is established again, then we've got this issue where the Liberals are not very favourable, except that the Liberal Party is well established and continues on into the very early 1970s, yet we've got this weird thing that happens in 1954. And then, before that, when the archaeology is started on our site that Hobkirk writes about, the war breaks out. Another thing, there's all these things concentrating around this site and area. Now, what the parody is focusing on, the one that I'm publishing now, though, is actually on the term Greenbelt for Greenbelt land. Now, it really starts kicking off when Hobkirk publishes the book, in this era of publishing and books getting sent around and people reading them. Now, Wikipedia gives credit to this Octavia Hill. Funnily enough, she's called Hill. Octavia is going around the hill, funnily enough. She's in the Wisbech area, which is sort of, Norfolk, Suffolk sort of area, not that far away from Sandringham Estate, really. It's that sort of area. Sandringham, ring a roses, pocket full of posies, flat out there. Anyway, there aren't any hills. So she gets caught. They claim that she coined the term green belt, but they actually were academics and scholars. This group to do with Octavia Hill, and in that era, obviously, books by the naturalist, C.P. Hobkirk, got around. Particularly, I would have said, to France and Paris. So it's fact that Hobkirk sparks this interest in this particular site. And he explicitly describes in his book the ring, the circle of trees, which is a very distinguishing green belt. It is a perfect belt of trees, a perfect ring, in a very definable area. Now, we know that something went on with the French, I believe, when they got hold of this book, and then some fireworks started going off, and then we get this Statue of Liberty appearing in America following this, with an island the exact same size and dimensions as this hill, in a Liberty shape, right? And it's a Statue of Liberty. Liberty cap shape, Liberty Hill, Statue of Liberty. What else? So it celebrates liberty in America, drawing attention over there and away. Meanwhile, it is slowly buried underneath this tramway, railway, Imperial Chemical Industries, various strange things going on with Sam Copley going to Australia and coming back with X millions and buying the entire area and then handing it over, claiming to hand it over to the public, yet he hands it over to King George, to King George's council government. And then William Legg, and there's a name for Legg in the area. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Mr. Sam Copley and Mr. Earl Dartmouth. So it clearly is, the shape of it is a green belt, and it's following this time when Octavia Hill is credited for coming up with the term green belt, although nothing was implemented into any councils or anything like that. I would suggest, with the timing of it and the Statue of Liberty and, general academia at the time, people read books, that they would have noted this green belt shape, and it would have been quite come up with it. Oh yeah, it's like a green belt. Who calls it? It's like on fucking Gladiator. When they're in the audience, like Maximus the Merciful. Who shouted that out? Somebody shouted out in the audience, like thumbs up or thumbs down. It's a bit like a green belt. Like Octavia Hill. Who shouted that? Who came up with that? Octavia Hill. Call it now. No, do it now. Well, that's good timing. So it is later, according to Wikipedia, when local councils and authorities adopt this term for the preservation of natural areas. Now, ironically, it is when this term is particularly becoming popular for London and other areas around England, when mysteriously from the Liberals, the newish Labour Party take control of the council, and then bang, in that exact 3-year window period, boom, the houses gone there. So much for creating the term green belt to protect land. Well, it did protect the land where the belt was, but unfortunately it didn't protect what was inside it. Now, it has to be. I mean, if any Cluedo or Sherlock or Watson or anyone can look at these dates and quite clearly see what happened, what's going on. Anyone who even knows what the hell's going on now, some people have not got a clue what is going on now, let alone back then. But for those with the foresight or, hindsight to see, I think that it is quite clear, and few people, few academics, unless depends on their affiliations, would disagree, which is why it's important to draw the attention to the historic England and natural England and the National Trust. Unfortunately, the local council haven't really assisted that much, because this is where they always get us to fight against each other. The more worrying concerns that I draw attention to in the parody that I've made, I guess it's just more of a visual account, is that I've drawn attention to more of a comedy value towards an actual belt itself that a human would wear. But it's concerning now we know the pyramid and hierarchy of ownerships of the food industry and company, namely people like Warburton's and their other favourites, Captain Birdseye, the Colonel, KFC, and these other figures, who is behind all these companies and buying the shares. How is it miraculously become arranged that they be successful? Levers are pulled, as George Galloway would say, behind the scenes. We get this Green Giant advert popping up. Ho, 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 Green Giant. And he's selling foods, namely sweet corn and other foods, but he certainly isn't pushing very healthy greeny leaves like spinach leaves or nettle leaves or wild garlic leaves. Ramsons. Get a nice ram that hillside with a quarry. Get a nice chip into it. Let's make his mark on it. Let's spoil it. Ramsons, let's call those. Get a nice monkey for those as well, even though it happens to be, there's a garlic bulb. You don't eat entire garlic bulbs, but if it was a leaf that happened to contain potassium and calcium and other nutrients that would be perfect for me to eat, with a slight mild garlic flavour and actually some health benefits of the garlic in it, but not too strong in the bulb, let's not chuck the gold in the dustbin and, chew on the coal. Let's not get the garlic bulb. Oh, this will have this one. It's very, very strong, these garlic bulbs. You can you can chip a tiny bit off it and flavour your entire meal. Well, yeah, but I actually want a meal, something that I can actually eat for a meal. If you've got a TV guide, you don't need a TV. If you've got garlic leaves, you don't need a garlic bulb. This is it. Okay, let's not promote healthy leafy greens that all the professional doctors now are saying we should have been eating. Let's trick these potato-eating idiots and fill them up with terrible vegetables that aren't really actually very good for you at all. In fact, they're full of calories, starches, sugars, fats. So I'm not keen on the Green Giant advert and the jokes in it. If you get this clarified mental state where you just even watch it back like 10 times till it soaks in, and I'm like watch Scotch Forever. We record, not fade away. We record, not watch away. Let's watch Scotch Forever, not drink Scotch. Watch it back until the message really sinks in. Get all of the puns, jokes, and everything. Multiple meanings. Get them all soaked in. Get all the relevances. It's these. There are happy-go-lucky people for sure working at these big food places, advertisers, production companies, TV companies. But there is a bigger mastermind behind it all. I swear. There is someone who exactly knows what is going on, where the stocks and shares are going, which companies are picked out and succeeding. As Charles says in his weather report when he did the weather for BBC Scotland, did the news. Who wrote this script? Who wrote this script? I suggest these scripts are either slipped in or influenced. We know, never mind who wrote the script. Where is this investor's money from? Who invested in this company? Who promoted this company? Who got this company on TV? So, the parody, I've put some of the Chaz Hopkirk book into it in quotes, but I think that it's particularly like, David and Goliath, David knocks him out with a little stone. It's almost like, knocking us out by giving us bad diets, And the Greenbelt, these obese pumpernickels, these Rumpels of the Bailey, these Lord Hanningfields, these Elton Johns, and unfortunately John Lynhams, these successful, honoured, awarded champions of the realm who are certainly not the best health advocates of the nation. Terry Wogan, obviously some people are going to get ill, but these things do not help, and they do really not set a good example. And they're still pushing it now. I mean, in Ireland with that shopping centre with the dolmen in it is just insanely ridiculous. Shop till you drop is just an absolute comedy joke. And I mean, they're even getting the wool pulled over their eyes. They're by developers. We're being occupied And it is a military occupation. It's the occupation. What's your occupation? What's your vocation? Vocation, occupation. Well, we conquered this island and now we're occupying it, and that's my occupation and vocation. Is to rule, to rule, and that's what they're doing. Domination and rulership now over corporate elites, and unfortunately to their benefit and gain, and our detriment, health detriment. And then they'll pull diversions, they'll pull distractions, they'll pull pandemics, they'll pull lies, they'll pull anything under the sun. Then they'll pull your rights away, pulling our history out from under us, and even insulting, add insult to injury. Where do all these terms come from? Add insult to injury. Spoiled. Yet they always they always say, oh, rich people are spoiled, sugar and spice and all things nice. Yet we find out that it is the poor who have been spoiled. They could have been proud, they could have been intelligent, they could have been given good diets, and they could have been shepherded in the right direction. They weren't. They were taken advantage out of. They were made to work. They were given poor wages. They were given poor diets. They were given poor education. They were given poor advice. They've been spoiled and ruined. And their areas have been spoiled, and their history. Now we've got Anthony Murphy going on the prehistory guys. Nothing was said about these corporate entities that are being taken over the south of Ireland under the guise of corporate enterprises, taking away people's history and things like that. It's absolutely disgraceful. And now we've actually got weird stuff happening for real. We don't know whether it's staged or what, but we've got, the Prince George of Germany now plotting to take over German government like that was going to happen. What was his actual plan and plot anyway? Was he going to blow it up or something? I seriously doubt it. I don't exactly know how he expected to pull it off when Germany's part of the Euro and Europe anyway. There's all kinds of distractions and diversions going on, The DeLorean car company was part of all this. It was failed. It could have succeeded, but a series of have you ever heard of that Lemony Snicket film, A Series of Unfortunate Events? That's what happened to DeLorean. It could have been a very successful car company. It was stainless steel. They had a few things going wrong in the factory, but then weird stuff happened, and then it got done by the police. I think that it was set up. Stainless steel cars would have lasted a long time. They wouldn't have rusted. I wouldn't have really understood. Living in England, if you're an American, you would have understood it. But if I hadn't have been to Australia, I just wouldn't have really understood how important and serious that was. Because when I went to Australia, it was just all these cars, like absolutely mint condition, like all these Cortinas, all these 80s cars, 70s and 80s cars. Even the interiors were just amazing. I know you can get car collectors, but the weather over there just doesn't rust them like in England, when you've just got all these rust buckets. People are going, chassis needs doing, it needs some welding work, it needs this and that. I just couldn't believe it when I was in Australia. I was just like, it was kind of a little bit like going back in time, but not in a bad way. It wasn't like going back like Barry Sheeman says, oh no, we're not going back to the dark ages. Everyone has to scrap their cars in, hand them in, get paid by the government to hand them in, so we can get you these new cars where you can't even get in and out of it when you need to get out of the car. Not until the parental controls, or is that control of the parents, not till they're controlling all the doors up and down. And the rest of it. Obey the vehicle. I don't really think it was that much for safety. I think they really wanted to get control of the vehicles, and then they really wanted to usher in actually having it so you didn't even drive or steer the vehicles. I think it really pissed them off when I was going around for work, and I managed to do the surveying in between work and get all the evidence as a freelance. Really, this is what freelance means, really. Although I wasn't completely free, but I had the privilege of being able to do the petition work and the investigation in the interest of the public while I was out working. So in a way, it's kind of freelance. They really didn't like that. what happens when people can go around, and have the ability to travel freely and, do some observations. In Ireland, you're not allowed to do observations anymore unless you pay 20 euros. You're not allowed to show any interest in what other people are up to. Don't be pried into our business. You just carry on making widgets. Don't be observing what we're doing. You don't have the right or privilege to observe what we're doing unless you pay money. It's like on YouTube, you don't have the right and privilege to use the platform properly without being hindered. It would hinder the progress of the purpose of the platform of which we're using it for. If you don't pay a ransom to be free from Greg Secker's promiscuous, homosexually tainted corporate flooded advertisements which cannot be blocked because somehow he's got that many channels and that many ads for each channel that you just can't block them all. There's like 500, he's got like 500 adverts or something. It's impossible to block him. This is the takeover of the corporate world. They haven't got as good... I'm sorry to say this, but this is fact now. And this is fact from professional doctors, many American professional doctors, the good ones, not the sinister doctors or the government-affiliated light ones who are trying to cover it up. The food industry is not user-friendly. The food industry is not customer-friendly. It tries to be cuddly. It tries to have your good intentions, make a nice package, make a nice box, do some cartoons, adverts. It's all very sinister influencer marketing with these household names, household caricatures, familiars, magical animated familiars. The Colonel Sanders, he's not just sanding you down a little bit, he's practically got the fucking jigsaw out on your guts with that modified bread starch, I can tell you that, and the sugars. We're all dopies. And if there's nothing worse than dopies, there's dopies who queue up to see Simon Cowell in X Factor, and then you're extremely dopey. There's dopey and really, really dopey. And then the fact is that they're getting people to go through McDonald's and, then post the videos. There are no more sales reps. They don't even need sales reps anymore. Sales reps used to drive around in Mondeos and have decent wages and stay at Travel Lodge and, sit and talk to officers and chat people up and, be the social butterflies of the Tory party. Now, they don't. I mean, they've got all the kids, the new recruits, the brainwashed addicts repping for them on YouTube, drive around McDonald's, make the TikTok videos. I mean, they're not even getting... Well, they get discounts and vouchers for keep going there, but, they don't even need reps now. And this is the thing. They don't actually need advertisements. You need to understand this. They've never needed advertisements. They've always sold things and they've always made a profit. You always are going to need something. You always are going to need some kind of food or something. Now, even if you don't know exactly where to go for the specific thing you want, you go down locally, you can get your sellotape. Locally, you can get your shoes. Locally, you can get your jackets. Now, you might not get the exact specific thing you want, but you can get the things that you need. There's a timber shop, there's whatever, and all these companies are going to sell stuff to the local people. I mean, advertising was never an absolute necessity. It was a perk. It was a privilege, a novelty. We made some money. We've got a bit of money left. Now we can do some advertising. Try and get more business. But then if this is the birth of eating more than you should, eating it for a treat or eating it just for the sake of eating it because it tastes nice. Come get your dog treats or whatever. That really is the birth of excess because, berries and things are supposed to stand out so you can see them when you need them, when you're actually looking for them, not when you're going about your own business and then, some God doesn't pop up, flashing flowers when you actually already had something to eat, just so they can start putting it on your brain and, getting you to eat excess. This is the whole that the natural order, foods are supposed to be bright and coloured or shaped or whatever to attract you over to them and have sugars in, so that you seek to get the sugar in the food to get the nutrients and get the minerals or the protein, not just to get the sugar. And now they've diabolically, dastardly idiots have created these foods, and then people who are wiser than them even can continue allowing them to be idiots and I beg your pardon, poisoners with it all. So the Greenbelt, well, pop goes the belt buckle. That's all I can say. And where this term, I'm quite certain that for the environment, and it's ironic that actual, I truly believe that Octavia Hill did come up with that from Hobkirk's book and the talk that was going around that time, which also I believe led the French to come up with a Statue of Liberty as well, also because Liberty Island. And I think that it's an absolute disgrace that Labour, well, it was clearly obviously the Royals who arranged for Labour to take over for that 3-year period, and then they blamed, so they could blame it on Labour. I think that some cheating went on then. Clearly, it got scammed, so it got built on just as it's happening now. As the houses round the back of us got scammed, they didn't put planning notices out. As their Earl Dartmouth is, doing now with his cooperative funeral, the co-op takeover and buy all the funeral parlours. Now it's all one big strange weird organisation like Amazon Bodies, Soon we'll need to be zipped up in body bags to protect ourselves from all these 5G and 6G fucking signal things. And then even worse, Nick Clegg, the champion of the realm, and Mark Zuckerberg, who have been brainwashed by the empire, are obstructing our messenger, so we can't get signatures for local areas easily to stop all this stuff going on. I mean, look at the We Got a Problem channel. That is a brilliant channel called We Got a Problem. I've put a couple of his videos up because, I mean, I ain't got time these days to watch everything because there's so many channels now, but, I mean, he knows what's going on. They're taking over these Oxford, and then, in Cambridgeshire, they're doing it, wanting to do it now with all these movement restriction zones. People could oppose them and stop them. Even if it's a trial, you could stop a trial if you get enough signatures. They're just not allowing us to do that. They're not, and they're making it look like you can, but you can't, because you need to use Twitter or Facebook or one of the main platforms, or email. And now if you ring up an email company that trades in emails that you can buy, email lists like, which are, shared, it's the public domain email list that people give over and allow you to, they won't sell you them unless you've got data protection. If, normal person hasn't got data protection who's doing a petition, they're only allowing the corporate to have all the metadata. They're only allowing the corporate to use the metadata for its purposes. They're only wanting the corporate to infiltrate our phones and Google with metadata and influencers in our houses unless we pay a ransom to them. They don't want voters. They don't want the electors, the people, to get hold of these big emails now. If you go on to 38 Degrees or change.org, you don't get the emails. Yet in the Petitions and Referendums Act, George Galloway knows that it says you need the electronic communication method so the council can contact them and check it's correct. Yet 38 Degrees and change.org don't give you the emails. 38 Degree, change.org don't want you to have the emails. They want to be the middleman and keep the emails themselves. But yet you need it in the Act. And then, but yet local councillors have been using change.org for petitions. And then people have been piling loads of money into it. These are the big sinister forces that are behind this, and they know this, and they're really treating us like we are dum-de-dum-dum-dum, tweedledum and tweedledee. Really, really dumb. And there are, I'm not trying to claim that I'm some sort of, there are other people who know what's going on, but I just don't think some of them realise the significance and importance and how you see, Extinction Rebellion can get a lot of people, and they can get people to McDonald's on site and target it. Extinction Rebellion can get people into Parliament and glue themselves to the building. They've got this. They were given permission to. Even Prince Charles joined in to get permission to grow, or else they'd have never got as big as they were. It'd have all been dampened down behind the scenes. They got permission. It's convenient for them to use Extinction Rebellion as an excuse to get rid of the rights. Extinction Rebellion, they say they've tried, but I just don't think Hallam understands the power of local government. It's easy to get things done in a local area, and you can definitely get it done with weight in numbers, but you don't actually have to be from the local area, because people who commute, everyone in the town centre might not even be from the county. Everyone who works in Cardiff, for example, might come from Bristol, but you can't say they don't have a say in what goes on in Cardiff when they've got a business there and they own a business there. Of course they do. It's British. You've got British citizenship. Anyone can petition local councils, and then if you get so many percentage, you're supposed to be able to trigger a referendum where you can get a vote on one specific matter. And the thing is, what I don't think Gail and Roger realise is that people are always going to vote Tory or Labour, but you'll find that if on a specific matter, it's only one matter, not on if it's one thing, like, do we want these wind turbines or not, or do we want this or that? I think they'll find that, they'll get the support, and they can get the support on this or that, regardless of what everyone voted for in the elections, because it's just down to one single matter. You could end up, and this is why the government don't like it. This is why they conjured up this distraction of Partygate, which sent a very strong message out to the Tory members and the Labour members, Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer and Jeremy Corbyn, and they were like, this is a political party, and we're doing what this political party's bloody well doing, not what the rowdy rabbles want to do. And if we allow them to just, sign everything off diddly-diddly-dandy, doing what they diddly-diddly-dandy want to, then it'll be almost like some sort of party, like some rave or something. They'll just be doing what they bloody well want. Well, isn't that what democracy's for? Look, do you think that we're going to piddle around with a ballot box and fight to get control of this council so you can diddly-dandy-well go and get people signing to do what you diddly-dandy-well want? Well, yeah, that's how it works. If we're actually that bothered about this matter or that matter or another matter and no one else is, then yes, that's how it works, Mr. Speaker. Believe it or not, whether or not Nick Clegg and Mark Zuckerberg believe that in their castles in the sky, in their new 53rd state, or whatever it is, meta state, which is operating outside the rules and regulations and laws of federal state government and the United Kingdom, in their fantasy metaverse, which they're trying to create, and then the government start, now we've got, let's get the framework out first, let's use actual force. And by the way, just ignore all complaints, ignore all complaints, it doesn't exist. Oh, look, we're doing it, we're blocking them, okay, bring Rishi Sunak in now, and Putin, now we're really changing the law, and now you can't stop us, try, how are you going to stop us now, when you can't send your dandy messages, when you can't go on site, how are you going to stop us now, And no one can even see the videos when we slam dunk them algorithms. No one will be having that popping up on the screen. Mr. Speaker, this government is being hijacked by these corporate gentlemen who aren't gentlemen, who are imposing their will upon us unlawfully across the entire globe, and as if they were taking candy from a baby. Unfortunately, they've been giving candy to babies and causing all the health defects and problems of the nation, and then they take the pocket money from them, prize it out of their hand, while looking the other way. And Sir Kiyama can waltz around the kingdom all he wants on his glowing white steed of championship fucking honour. Yet, I have the right to remain silent. Anything I say can and will be used against me in the court of law, which is why I'm not saying a fucking word. Isn't that right? George, Pete Osborne, George Mumbert, Double Down News. If Starmer keeps his mouth shut, then it doesn't exist. He has the right to remain silent, which is what he's doing. As Peter Roborn says, can you hear that? The silence of Starmer. Everyone's screaming, "Get out of my pub, Starmer! Get out of my polling station!" Or is he shouting to Jeremy Corbyn, "Get out of my Labour Party!" Or whatever. And Extinction Rebellion are shouting to the government, various other things from the top of motorway gantries. And now Rishi Sunak's getting the police chiefs to shout, to the public, of which many supporters they have, which it must be in the public interest. So therefore, it's not criminal, although Rishi's trying to make it criminal when the law says that he can't make it criminal because he's forbidden to by statute law. Yes, there are statute laws which forbid ministers. It says no. A law that says ministers can and can't do things. Who would believe it? Who would make a law like that? Well, the king at the time, after the Civil War. Who would make a law like that when people are running around with pistols and swords, rampaging around the country, robbing art and robbing, burning down courtrooms and various other chaos ensuing? Who would enact a law like that? We'll just shave a little bit off it, Rishi. Shave a little bit off those rights, and then shave a bit more off. Well, how much can you shave? How much are you going to shave off it? How much do you want to shave off these rights, Rishi? Keep shaving, going. Oh, actually, nothing. You can't shave anything off it, and you can't enact anything in connection with it, Rishi. That's the point. Because then you wouldn't have the right of way. Oh, authorised demonstrations, authorised petitioning. It's almost like, we'll decide whether you got the right of way or not to debate it. Authorised. If you got the authorisation, or does that mean we need permission? Right, so we don't have the right unless Rishi gives us permission. So we don't automatically have the right until Rishi says we have the right after this in certain circumstances, which Rishi will set out. So, we know what those circumstances are, what is the worst case scenario? Well, we've seen the worst case scenario. We've had the worst case scenario. That is what led to the enactment being imagined and conjured up, Rishi. We've had the worst case scenario. Now, think of another worst case scenario. It's called the Colonel. It's called McDonald's. It's called genocide, Ricky. Genocide, Ricky. It's called poisoning people with the intent to cause malicious effects on health through strategically planned nutrition. Even the names of the places: Warburton's, sugar refineries, and using advertisements and the consumer marketing, celebrity names, household names, familiars, magic, caricatures to pledge allegiances, gain trust of the public, and addict them to the foods, and even get them to fight for the cause, drive around McDonald's and fucking promote it. That's the big picture issue, right? Now, Rishi, we're not retarded. I don't need to be Professor Tim Wilson. I don't need to be, a mathematician, because there are skills you're not teaching in college. There are skills you're not teaching in universities or schools. There are skills called, what the fuck is these corrupt politicians up to? Now, why don't you get out a university? Let's make Charles a special course, at Cambridge a special course. We'll make him his own special tailored university course. I've got a tailored university course for you, Rishi. It's called The Study of Corrupt Politicians. Rishi, how about that subject on the university campus and on the curriculum? Study of corrupt politicians now and then. And the process and procedure by which they're extracted and brought to justice using explicit rights which cannot be legislated against. This is where Priti Patel and Rishi Sunak are out of their depth. Unless they're, like Richie Rich in that cartoon when he's got a secret room of money that he goes swimming in. I want to go to my comfort room now and swim in my money, my palm notes, It's like, oh, quick, quick, the money will help me. The money will help me. It's Greg Secker. I can do anything. It's like, these people, the problem with David Cameron and all these private school people is that they've been brought up to believe that anything can be bought by money. Money can buy anything, and it can't. Just look at in Ayrshire, Rees-Mogg, trying to run for local government, which he failed miserably. There's something wrong with these people, and they are highly competitive, highly corrupt, and they aren't actually as clever as they think they are. They're clever at taking things from people and making themselves money, making themselves famous, and tricking people. That's what they're actually good at. And they believe that it's all in the name of progress and all these new inventions and goody things. Yeah, straight, on the records, CDs, C90 cassettes, on the rubbish heap, just as quick as you're making them, we're piling them up on the rubbish heap. This is progress of Barry Shearman. It would be something if they'd have made the University of Huddersfield out of old C90 cassette tapes. I mean, if they actually have made the building out of C90 cassette tapes stacked up, and old CDs, that would have been interesting. That might have been the future of recycling and innovation. It could have even been warm, but no, they end up in landfill. You like Sting of the Dump. It's not actually comedy.